Hello fellow duelists, my name is VideoJames, and we're back with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. So I know it's been quite a while since my last video, I do apologize for that. I have been meaning to put this video out for a while, but some stuff happened in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community and it kind of made me have to rethink this, and plus the meta basically completely changed from my perspective on YGO, so I had to revamp this a little bit. So this is the up-to-date deck profile for this deck. And this is actually going to be my Stardust Dragon Assault Mode deck profile for June of the year 2019. I know, Assault Mode. Like, that's one of the decks you never see anymore, but it is actually very useful now because of the fact that you don't see it that often. That's one of the things I like about this deck, is it's kind of like my Dolce in a sense that you see it, but you don't see it enough to be able to anticipate it, which is awesome for this deck, because it just lets it pull out all kinds of surprises. Without further ado, let's just get in this deck profile. I'll talk about the fun and all that of this deck at the end of the profile, but for now, let's just get into the actual cards. So starting off, of course, we've got 3 Stardust Dragon Assault Mode, main card of the deck, the entire premise of the deck, and it is a very good control card. So basically, it's like Stardust Dragon, it's a dragon-type wind monster, it's level 10 instead of 8, and it's got 3,000 attack and 2,500 defense instead of 2,500 attack and 2,000 defense. So it's basically Stardust with an amped up armor. And it cannot be normal summoned or set, and it must be special summoned with Assault Mode activate, and can't be special summoned by other ways except for its own effects. So Monster Reborn, World Legacy Succession, nothing can bring Assault Mode back to the field except for Assault Mode. And when a card or effect is activated while Assault Mode is on the field, this is a quick effect, and this is one of the best quick effects ever. You can tribute this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. Then, during the end phase, if this effect was activated this turn and not negated, you can special summon Assault Mode back from the graveyard. So it's basically like Stardust Dragon, but instead of negating destruction, it can negate whatever the heck it wants and just come straight back. Now, there are some instances where this isn't the best option. You kind of just want to wait. You do kind of want to wait for a few plays to see just what your opponent's about to do before you kick into Assault Mode. You don't want to just negate the first thing right off the bat, but it's like if it's like a level 4 summon that you know is going to cause a problem, like say Overraptor, then you do kind of want to use Assault Mode. Or if your opponent uses something like Big Evolution Pill, then you do want to use Assault Mode. And the reason I'm saying so many Dinosaur deck references is because Dinosaur has become prevalent again, and extremely so. I see like a lot more Dinosaur decks now. I'll see a lot more hero decks now, mainly because the heroes have gotten a lot of support recently. And this card also has the effect of, if it is destroyed while it's on the field, you can target a Stardust Dragon in your graveyard and special summon it. So basically it's like a recycle of Stardust Dragon, that you summon Stardust Assault Mode gets destroyed, you use Assault Mode's effect to bring Stardust Dragon back to the field, and then you have a Stardust Dragon on your field. And then we also have Red Dragon Archfiend Assault Mode. Now this card I really do like, because it just helps it clearing out the opponent's field. And honestly, I like it better than TG Halberd Cannon. I think that's the name of it. Just because the effect of this one, in my opinion, is a lot better than Halberd Cannon. So basically, same stuff as Assault Mode for Stardust. That can't be normal summoned or set. Can't be special summoned except with Assault Mode. And basically, if Red Dragon Archfiend Assault Mode attacks, you destroy all other monsters after damage calculation. And if Red Dragon Archfiend Assault Mode is destroyed, you can special summon Archfiend from your graveyard. So this card works really well at clearing out the field, and it does kind of help get rid of your opponent's board, but at the same time, it does also kind of hurt you. And of course, it lets you special summon the Red Dragon Archfiend back from the graveyard if it's destroyed. And it is actually a level 10 Dark Dragon with 3,500 attack and 2,500 defense. My main combo when I use Archfiend Assault Mode is I like to go for getting Stardust Dragon Assault Mode on the field, then using Psy-Reflector to get out Red Dragon Archfiend, then attacking with both Red Dragon Archfiend and Stardust Dragon Assault Mode, possibly getting rid of a defense position monster field like Subterror with Red Dragon Archfiend, and then after both of those monsters have attacked, switch into Red Dragon Archfiend Assault Mode using an Assault Mode activate, and then go for the extra 3,500 points of damage. And by this point, if Stardust Dragon Assault Mode is still on the field, losing it's not the biggest issue. You can kind of recover it, The only problem is that once it's destroyed, I don't think you can really recover that much with just Stardust Dragon. So you kind of want to make sure you have at least one backup on your field if you're going to go all out with Red Dragon Archfiend Assault mode. But it is a very good board clearer, it is a very good damage hitter, and if you're running some piercing battle damage monsters, the combo I just mentioned can get you an insane amount of damage. And then moving on to the Assault monsters, we have 2 Assault Beast. Basically, the Searcher of the deck, what this is it's a level 4 Beast Warrior Earth monster with 1900 attack and 1200 defense. And what it does is it lets you discard it to the graveyard to add Assault Mode Activate from your deck to your hand, which this deck revolves around Assault Mode Activate, so having this in your deck is good. You only really want to run it at 2. As you can see, I'm only really running it at 2. 3 is a little bit too cloggy, just because with how many Searcher cards you have in this deck, you're going to be able to pull Assault Mode out pretty much whenever you want to. So you don't really want to run too many of these, just because there have been times when I was running 3 of them that I would dead draw into it and I'd be like, I can't do anything with this, and I just instantly lose from that point. So you don't really want to run too many. 2 is a good number. I wouldn't degrade it down to 1, just because there is some stuff you want to surge with Assault Sentinel and Psy-Reflector that is stuff other than Assault Mode Activate, and you do kind of want to just use this to limit the options of your deck. And then speaking of Assault Sentinel, we're running 3 of it. I do kind of wish they'd kept it as Assault Sniper instead of changing it to Assault Sentinel, because, I mean, the thing's literally holding a sniper rifle. But what this card is, it's a level 4 Beast Warrior again, 1600 attack, 800 defense, and what it does is that you contribute it to special summon 1 monster from your hand or deck that specifically lists Assault Mode. Assault Beast, Psy-Reflector. We got 2 monsters that it can do that with. But you can't use it to bring out another Assault Sentinel, and you can't special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except for Synchron monsters. Again, Assault Beast, Psy-Reflector. Most of the extra deck is comprised of Synchros. You rarely really ever go into links or fusions, so Assault Sniper is probably, I would say, the second best card in this deck. It is really just the ultimate at getting your combos out, and you're going to be using it pretty much every single time you see it. That every single time you see it, even if you don't have Assault Mode, you're going to be using it to get the Assault Mode into your hand and then pull out another Assault Mode from your extra deck. And of course I am running 3 of the Assault Sniper because its effect is so good you don't really want to waste it, and you do pretty much want to see this almost every single turn because it's just an instant Assault Mode. That you get this thing on the field, you tribute it, get out Psy-Reflector, use Psy-Reflector's effect, bring back Assault Sniper as a level 7, then use Assault Mode Activate or Assault Mode 0 after you Synchro Summon for, say, Stardust Dragon or Red Dragon Archfiend, and get out whatever Assault Mode you want to use. So you pretty much always want to use 3 of this guy, just because he is literally the second best card in this deck. And moving on to the first best card in this deck, we have 3 Psy-Reflector. This card literally is what makes this deck able to be run now. Without Psy-Reflector, it would not be able to have a chance against any kind of deck, because this card literally lets you get 1 level 8 Synchro out in 1 turn. So basically what this monster is a Dark Psychic Tuner with 400 attack and 300 defense, and it is in fact a level 1, and if it is normal or special summon, you can add 1 Assault Mode Activate, or 1 card that specifically lists Assault Mode Activate in its text from your deck to your hand, except Psy-Reflector. Assault Modes: Assault Beast, Assault Sniper, Assault Mode Activate itself. There's way too many options for this thing to not have an option to search out. And you can reveal 1 Assault Mode Activate in your hand to target 1 monster in your graveyard that specifically lists Assault Mode in its text, except Psy-Reflector, and of course the Assault Modes, and special summon it, and if you do, increase its level by 1 to 4. Now, you can only use each effect once per turn, but that's fine. You only really need to use its effect once per turn, because this card is a boss. You absolutely want to run 3 of this if you're running an Assault Mode deck. This card is just absolutely amazing, and I honestly wish I had seen it a long time ago, because I would have run Assault Mode way sooner if I had seen it. But basically, the instant combo with this is, say you start out with Assault Sniper, Assault Beast, and I say, I don't know, Infinite Impermanence, Assault Slash, and Return to the Front Lines. What you do, use Assault Beast effect, discard it, add Assault Mode to your hand, use Assault Sniper's effect, summon it, tribute it, get out Psy-Reflector, then use Psy-Reflector's effect, search out another Assault Mode, activate, and then use Psy-Reflector's other effect, reveal one of the Assault Mode activates, get out, say, Sniper or Beast, whichever one, to the field, raise its level to 7, and then immediately Synchro Summon into Stardust Dragon. And then you just set one of your Assault Modes, and next turn, first standby phase, snap. You just get an instant Assault Mode of Stardust out on the field. And with Stardust Assault Mode's control power, your opponent has to play really careful now because they have to worry about, okay, is he going to be able to negate this, and is it going to ruin me? Because if you're patient and you play this deck right, you can just absolutely ruin a combo, and Psy-Reflector is the key to getting that ruiner for the combos. And then moving on to the support monsters, we're running 3 Kinka-Byo. This card is really useful, and with all the search options in this deck, you are able to kind of limit your drawing potential to where you can kind of foresee what you're able to draw and be able to pull out a Kinka-Byo when you need it. So what this card does is it is one of the spirit monsters. If any of you don't know what those are, it is the monsters that basically, once they're normal summoned or flip face up, during the end of that turn they have to be returned to the hand. And when this card is normal summoned or flip face up, you can target a level 1 monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but banish it when Kinka-Byo leaves the field. So basically what you do with this one is you use it to bring back Psy-Reflector, or you use it to get out something like Linkuriboh. So basically what I like to do with this is, usually when I use it, I've already gotten Assault Mode out, which will mean I have Psy-Reflector in the grave. So what I'll do is I'll summon Kinka-Byo, use its effect, bring back Psy-Reflector, use the Assault Mode I saved in my hand from earlier, use its effect to bring back Sniper or Beast, raise their level to 7 again, and then you can summon Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. And in my opinion, Trishula is amazing in this deck. He just runs really well. He helps clean up the entire board, and Kinka-Byo just makes that combo happen. And having Trishula and Stardust Dragon Assault Mode on the field at once is a little broken. I gotta admit, there have been boards that have kind of just been broken when I had both of those monsters on the field at the exact same time. So yeah, it does work out really well for that. Again, it also works out well for getting out a Link, like say Linkuriboh, Be Cut from the Underworld, or Nightmare monster. And then I am also running a Psy engine in this deck, so we've got 2 Psy-Framegear Gamma and 1 Psy-Frame Driver. So if you don't know the combo with this one, what Psy-Framegear Gamma does is it's a level 2 tuner that is a psychic monster with 1000 attack and 0 defense. And basically it can't be normal summoned or set and must be special summoned by a card effect. And when your opponent activates a monster effect while you control no monsters, quick effect, you can special summon both this card from your hand and 1 Psy-Frame Driver from your hand, deck, or graveyard, and if you do, negate that effect and destroy that monster. But during the end phase, you have to banish the monster special summoned by this effect. The reason they're in this deck is because we may have Assault Mode, but we do need that little extra bit of kind of just combo negation. Now, you could swap it out for something like, say, I don't know, Ash Blossom, since she's still relevant, just because Ash Blossom does kind of do that negation of search and special summon. So you could swap it out for Ash Blossom, but either one kind of works. I like running the Psy engine just because it gives you a wall in case you have no monsters and your opponent's about to hit you, and it does also destroy a monster that your opponent could have had that was essential to their plan. And then moving on to the spells, starting off we got 1 Assault Mode 0. This card basically functions like a quick play Assault Mode for your hand, because if you don't know, Assault Mode Activate only works while the monster that you're trying to summon is in the deck. So Assault Mode 0 kind of works to remedy that. Once per turn, you can tribute 1 Synchro monster, special summon 1 Assault Mode monster from your hand, whose name includes the tributed monster's name, and this is treated as a special summon with Assault Mode Activate. So it basically functions, again, as Assault Mode for your hand. Now, I do also really like using this card just because it kind of gives you that 1 turn of damage, that say you're going second and your opponent doesn't really get a monster on the field, then you end up summoning Stardust, attack with Stardust, battle phase, use Assault Mode 0, swap out into Assault Mode Activate, or Assault Mode Stardust, not Assault Mode Activate, and just kind of do that extra 3,000 points of damage. So it is good at kind of dealing damage and getting your assault modes out faster than assault mode activate. And it does have a secondary effect of during your main phase, you can banish it from your graveyard to set one assault mode activate from your hand or deck, and it can be activated this turn. So basically, if you're able to get out a Stardust Dragon and an assault mode, then you can use assault mode 0, banish it from your grave, and then once you get the Stardust Dragon on the field, set the assault mode activate, use it, and then get out another Stardust Dragon assault mode. And since there's no limitation on how Stardust Dragon assault mode can be summoned, like it can't only be summoned once per turn, and since assault mode activate doesn't have that restriction either, then you can basically get 2 assault modes on the field in one turn. So it is a very useful card. I really like running it just because it does provide you that out just in case you have an assault mode in your hand and you can't really do anything with it. And then we're also running 3 Assault Teleport. You could knock it down to 2. The only reason I haven't knocked it down to 2 is because I don't really think I can find anything to replace it that's good enough yet. It is very good in this deck, and you do kind of want to see it just in case you get an assault mode in your hand. But 3 is a little bit cloggy at times. So basically what it does is you can return 1 assault mode monster from your deck to your hand, from your hand to your deck. Sorry, did that in reverse. And you can draw 2 cards. So it basically functions as a trade-in, except instead of discarding, you return it to your deck. And this does, again, work for assault mode activate, since it can only special summon something from the deck. And it does help you get off a combo if you dead draw. That if you dead draw into this and an assault mode, then you can actually manage to, hopefully, get an Assault Beast or an Assault Sniper and manage to pull off a combo. And then we're also running 3 Fire Formation Tenki. This is basically the main searcher of the deck, with both of our key monsters for getting out in assault mode being Beast Warriors. And what Fire Formation Tenki does is when it's activated, you can add a level 4 or lower warrior, or not warrior, Beast Warrior type monster from your deck to your hand. And all Beast Warrior type monsters you control gain 100 attack, and you can only activate 1 per turn. So basically what it does is it just lets you search out an Assault Beast or an Assault Sentinel. So it is very helpful, again, in cases where you dead draw. So say you dead draw into Fire Formation Tenki, Assault Mode Stardust, and Assault Teleport. Then what you do is you Assault Teleport, or no, not Assault Teleport, you Fire Formation Tenki to add Assault Sniper to your hand. Then you use Assault Teleport, return Assault Mode to the deck, and draw 2 new cards. And if you draw, say, Assault Beast, well, then you just draw the perfect hand, because then you can just discard Beast, get another Assault Mode into your hand, and then you have 2 Assault Modes, 1 to set, and 1 to just keep in your hand in case you need to use it for Psy-Reflector. So yeah, you are running 3 of these. You don't want to knock it down any lower, just because having it search out your Beast Warrior type monsters is probably the best thing in this deck after Psy-Reflector. And then for the remaining special summons, we are running 2 Instant Fusion for our 2 Fusion monsters. Then we're also running Emergency Teleport, we're running 1 for 1, and we're running 1 Monster Reborn. And then moving on to the traps, starting out with the traps for Assault, we have 3 Assault Mode Activate, of course, the keyest card in the deck. Tribute 1 Synchro monster, special summon 1 Assault Mode monster, whose name includes a tributed monster's name, from your deck in attack mode. Use this to get out Assault Mode Stardust or Assault Mode Archfiend, and you just wreck from house. And then we're running 3 of those because, of course, we need it. We're also running 1 Assault Counter, again, just as another kind of negation, that while we do have Stardust Assault Mode, and it is a very good negator, it's not going to be able to stop everything, so we do want to have backup options. So with Assault Counter, it is actually a counter trap, and what it does is you can only use it while you control an Assault Mode monster, but you can negate the activation of a spell, trap, or effect monster's effect, and destroy it. So say your opponent uses Big Evolution Pill, or they use Mask Change while you have Stardust Dragon Assault Mode on the field, then you use Assault Counter, negate it, and then if they try and use another one, then you use Assault Mode to cancel out that one. And then you basically just save yourself from getting absolutely wrecked by heroes or dinos. And then for the remaining 2 traps, we're running 3 back to the front. Basically a Monster Reborn, except it special summons it in defense mode. And then we are also running 3 Infinite Impermanence. I don't really think I need to explain that at this point because it's been seen so much. And then moving on to the extra deck, we have, of course, the 3 Stardust Dragon. since we're running 3 Stardust Dragon Assault mode, you don't really want to run less than 3 Stardust Dragons. Basically, Stardust Dragon, level 8 Dragon Synchro, just takes 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters. And during either player's turn, when an effect is activated that would destroy a card in the field, you can tribute Stardust Dragon, negate the activation, and destroy it. And then during the end phase, if that effect wasn't negated, Stardust Dragon can come back to the field. So, Stardust Dragon is, in all honesty, among my top 5 favorite Synchro monsters, and probably my favorite Synchro monster. Although I do have to say, Trishula is kind of worming his way into the next spot, just because Trishula does have a very good effect, and it is very useful in most decks. And then we're also running, of course, the 1 Red Dragon Archfiend for bringing out Red Dragon Archfiend Assault mode, and kind of just as a defense deck toppler, that if we run up against something like Subterror, then Red Dragon Archfiend can take out one of these Subterrors and just use itself to kind of wipe the rest of them off the field. Basically, Red Dragon Archfiend, level 8 Dragon Dark Synchro, 3000 attack, 2000 defense, 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuners, and after damage calculation, if it attacks a defense position monster your opponent controls, you can destroy all defense position monsters they control, and during the end phase, you can destroy all the monsters you control that did not declare an attack this turn. And in order for that effect to actually resolve, Red Dragon Archfiend has to be face up on the field. So you can kind of save yourself with Assault Mode Activate and just use it to kind of get Archfiend off the field so he doesn't destroy everything. But it is highly likely that if you're able to get a Red Dragon Archfiend on the field, you're not going to have a lot to stop you from attacking. And then we are also running the 1 Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier. This guy is like the second MVP of this deck. This guy is the best Synchro in this deck after Stardust Dragon. So basically what Trishula does is it's a level 9 Dragon Water Synchro with 2700 attack and 2000 defense, and it takes 1 tuner plus 2 non-tuner monsters, which is why the main combo you're going to be using for this deck is to get out Kinka-Byo and Psy-Reflector at the same time. So basically what he does is when he's Synchro summoned, you can banish 1 card each from your opponent's hand, field, and graveyard, but the card in the hand is chosen at random. So basically it's like a free board clean, that if you know your opponent has something useful in their grave that you don't want them to have, then you just say, okay, Trishula, get rid of that monster or card on the field, there's a problem, and get rid of something from his hand. Hopefully an Ash Blossom, because screw Ash Blossom. Then we are also running 1 Psy-Framelord Omega, 1 Cyberse Quantum Dragon, and 1 Formula Synchron. Now, I gotta be honest, Formula Synchron and Cyberse Quantum Dragon, you don't really see that often. In fact, I see Psy-Framelord Omega more often, but you do see them just often enough to make it to where it's like, okay, they can be useful, but at this current moment, not the most useful. Although with Formula Synchron, there is a combo that can kind of just give you a free draw, which is basically use Kinka-Byo, bring back Psy-Reflector, use Psy-Reflector's effect, bring back one of the assault monsters, and raise its level to 6, and then Synchro into Formula Synchron, and then Synchron with Synchron into a Stardust Dragon, and because of Formula Synchron, you'll get a free draw after it's Synchro Summon. And then we are running 1000-Eyes Restrict and 1 Millennium-Eyes Restrict as our instant fusion targets. Basically, these cards are kind of just here to take out our opponent's monsters, that if our opponent has something we don't really want to touch, then we can kind of just use 1000-Eyes Restrict and Millennium-Eyes Restrict to say, okay, give me those, and we're going to destroy those this turn, okay? Okay. So basically what 1000-Eyes Restrict does is other monsters on the field can't change their battle positions or attack, and once per turn you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and equip it to 1000-Eyes, and that raises 1000-Eyes attack and defense to that monster's. But if 1000-Eyes Restrict would be destroyed by battle, you can destroy the equipped monster instead. So it doesn't really save itself from instant fusion, but it does stop your opponent from having a good monster in the field, like, say, I don't think Ultimate Conductor Tyranno can be targeted, but say something like a Tian Weilink. That if they have a Tian Weilink on the field, you can kind of just use 1000-Eyes Restrict to say, nope, mine. And then Millennium-Eyes Restrict basically does the same thing, except with a monster effect. So basically, once your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, You can target an effect monster they have in their graveyard or that they control, and equip it to Millennium-Eyes Restrict, and it gains attack and defense equal to the equipped monster, but monsters with that equipped monster's name can't attack, and their effects on the field and activated effects are negated. So it does kind of work out for stuff like cubics, that if you see cubics running more than one type of monster, normally you do, then you can use Millennium-Eyes Restrict to say, okay, I'm shutting that combo down right now, and just say, nope, you're going away. And then moving on to the links, you're not really going to see links in this deck very often, just because you don't really need to summon them all that much, but they are still useful. So for this deck, I am running one Beat Cop of the Underworld. Basically, this card just takes 2 monsters. It's a 1000 attack point monster, and it's dark. And if it's link summoned with 2 dark monsters with different names as material, you can tribute 1 monster, then target 1 face-up card on the field, place 1 patrol counter on it, and you can only use this effect to Beat Cop of the Underworld once per turn. But if a card with a patrol counter would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can remove 1 counter from it instead. So Beat Cop does kind of work as, say, protection for your Millennium-Eyes, but you're not going to really see it often, because if you use Kinka-Byo and Psy-Reflector, which is usually the stuff you'd use to get this on the field, you're more than likely going to be getting out Trishula rather than Beat Cop of the Underworld. And then, of course, we are running 1 Linkuriboh. There's so many level 1s in this deck that there's just too many options to get out Linkuriboh. And then we're running 1 Pentestag. That Pentestag is kind of there for Red Dragon Archfiend, that if a link monster attacks a defense position monster while it's linked to Pentestag, it inflicts piercing battle damage. So with Red Dragon Archfiend, since it's mainly used to attack defense positions, Pentestag works out really well as kind of just a link zone for that monster. Then just to round off the extra deck, we are running 1 Knightmare Phoenix and 1 Knightmare Cerberus. And that is basically it for this Stardust Dragon Assault Mode deck. I do have some replays, which I'll get to in a minute, but I do kind of want to just talk about the deck for a second. So most of the time it is fun. It is a very fun deck. I do enjoy running it a lot. It's not the strongest competitive-wise, mainly because Assault Mode's never been the strongest, and it still isn't. That even with the support they've gotten, Assault Mode isn't top tier in any means, but it is a good deck to use, and it's fun, because most people don't really expect to see Assault Mode deck out on the field. That not real often you're going to see an Assault Mode deck. And when you do pull it out, it's like your opponent's just sitting there saying, okay, what do I do? What do I stop? What do I cancel? Because chances are they've never seen an Assault Mode deck enough to actually be able to know what to cancel. And then by the time they figure it out, you've already got a Stardust Dragon Assault Mode on the field to stop their next combo. So it is a fun deck. It's relatively cheap too, barring Infinite Impermanence. That with Infinite Impermanence still being like $49 after the reprint, I really wish it would get cheaper. But with it being so expensive, the deck reaches at max, I'd say 180, I think, is the max price for it at this point. There has been that shipping increase on cards, that if you're buying cards online, there's kind of a little 75-cent shipping thing for anything below $5 usually. So cards are becoming a bit more expensive, and I can kind of see where that's going. But it is a very fun and relatively cheap deck to run. Not cheaper than Odd Eyes, but I don't really think much is cheaper than Odd Eyes, considering Odd Eyes is like the dirt cheap deck of this generation. So with that over, I'm going to go ahead and start playing some of the replays. I hope you guys enjoyed them, and I hope you liked this deck. The complete list will also be in the description in case some of you guys didn't catch what some of the cards were. But I do hope you all enjoy it. If you did, slap the like button as always, and I'll see all you beautiful people in the next video.